Previously on Kings and Empires of United India, the mighty Mauryan Empire, once the unifier of Bharatvarsha under Chandragupta Maurya, had crumbled under the weight of internal discord and external pressures. The last Mauryan ruler, Bhadraka, was overthrown in 185 BCE by the ambitious Pushyamitra Shunga, marking the dawn of the Shunga Dynasty. Under Pushyamitra's rule, India witnessed military triumphs, cultural revival, and the restoration of stability. However, the empire's fate remained fragile, and upon his passing, his son Agnimitra Shunga ascended the throne in 148 BCE. Agnimitra's reign was defined by his military campaigns, cultural patronage, and his struggle to maintain control over a fragmented empire. But after Agnimitra's death, the Shunga dynasty would soon face a succession crisis, marked by weak leadership and internal dissent. The empire, once powerful, was on the brink of collapse. Today, we explore the decline of the Shunga dynasty and the rise of the Kanva Dynasty, a new chapter in the history of ancient India. This is Kings and Empires of United India. The Shunga dynasty had reached its peak under the rule of Pushyamitra and Agnimitra. But as we've seen in the annals of history, no empire lasts forever. With Agnimitra's passing in the early 2nd century BCE, the Shunga dynasty began to face a series of challenges that would unravel its once mighty rule. As Agnimitra's son, Bhadraka, took the throne, it was clear that the strength and stability the dynasty once enjoyed were beginning to fade. Bhadraka, though a man of noble blood, lacked the strategic brilliance and strong leadership that had characterized his father. His reign was marked by internal strife and discontent among the provinces, many of which were beginning to break free from Shunga control. The Shunga dynasty's reliance on military might to maintain control over a vast and diverse empire had created tensions with the regional governors. These semi-autonomous rulers, once loyal to the Mauryas, now saw an opportunity to assert their independence. The northern regions, where Shunga authority was weakest, became ripe for rebellion. And in the south, the Satavahana dynasty was steadily growing in power, setting the stage for future conflicts. Despite attempts to stabilize the empire, the cracks within the Shunga administration became increasingly apparent. The final blow came when Devbhuti, the last Shunga ruler, ascended the throne. Devbhuti was a man of ambition, but his reign was plagued by incompetence and cruelty. His tyrannical rule alienated both his subjects and his court. The once thriving Shunga Empire had become a shadow of its former self. Devbhuti's reign, though short, would be the final chapter for the Shunga dynasty. His unpopularity grew rapidly, and his court was filled with intrigue and betrayal. It was during this period of instability that Brahmadatta, a high-ranking minister in the Shunga court, saw his opportunity. As Devbhuti's rule became more oppressive, Brahmadatta orchestrated a coup, overthrowing the last of the Shunga rulers in 73 BC. Brahmadatta, seizing power, declared himself king and established the Kanva Dynasty. The Shungas, whose influence had once spanned vast territories, were now ousted from power, and the Kanvas began their rule over a fragmented and weakened empire. Yet, the rise of the Kanva dynasty was not a simple usurpation. It marked the beginning of a new era in Indian politics, where regional powers and emerging dynasties would shape the subcontinent's future. The Kanvas, though brief in power, would be pivotal in transitioning India from the Shunga Empire to the subsequent rise of new powers like the Satavahanas in the south. While the political landscape of India was changing, this period also saw significant achievements in the realms of art, culture, and commerce. Despite the political instability, India's cultural heart continued to beat strongly. Under the patronage of the Shunga dynasty and its successors, art, architecture, and literature flourished in this era. The Shunga period, often remembered for its military and political turbulence, was also a time of profound cultural renaissance. The arts, particularly sculpture, saw remarkable advancements. The Sanchi Stupa, which had been initiated during Ashoka's reign, underwent significant expansions and embellishments during the Shunga rule. The stupa's detailed carvings depicted scenes from both Buddhist and Vedic traditions, reflecting a fusion of cultural influences and artistic innovation. Literature, too, thrived. Sanskrit drama gained prominence, and it was during this period that the seeds for the great works of playwrights like Kalidasa were sown. The literary culture of the Shunga court set the stage for an intellectual awakening that would continue for centuries. Economically, India saw the growth of trade networks both within the subcontinent and beyond. The northern plains saw the expansion of agricultural production, while the Deccan and the south became increasingly important centers of commerce. The Shungas, though politically unstable, played a role in securing these trade routes, ensuring that India's economy remained connected to the rest of the ancient world. The flourishing of Indian textiles, spices, and precious metals in international markets brought wealth and prosperity to the region. These cultural and economic developments, while often overshadowed by the political upheaval, laid the foundations for the future success of the Satavahana dynasty and the continued influence of Indian civilization on the world stage. As the Shunga dynasty crumbled, a new chapter began with the rise of the Kanva dynasty. Though the Kanvas were initially seen as usurpers, their rule marked the beginning of a shift in the political landscape of ancient India. The Kanva dynasty's reign, however, would be short-lived, lasting only for a few decades. They would never be able to fully consolidate the empire, and their power would be continuously challenged by regional powers like the Satavahanas. But their brief rule is significant for one reason: it set the stage for the decline of the Shungas and the emergence of new political entities in India. Under the Kanvas, India would continue to see cultural and economic growth, but the looming threat of external invasions, particularly from the Indo-Greeks in the northwest, would force India to once again rethink its defense and governance strategies. With the rise of the Kanva dynasty, India found itself at a crossroads. The Shunga dynasty had fallen, and new powers, both regional and foreign, were emerging on the horizon. In our next episode, we will explore the rise of the Satavahana dynasty, one of the most influential powers of the Deccan. Under the leadership of Simukha Satavahana, the Deccan witnessed the resurgence of regional power, which would lead to future conflicts with the declining Kanva dynasty and the growing influence of Indo-Greek forces in the northwest. The story of ancient India is one of constant change, where power shifts, dynasties rise and fall, but the heart of Bharatvarsha continues to pulse with cultural, intellectual, and economic vitality. Join us in the next episode of Kings and Empires of United India as we continue our journey through the ages. Until then, the wheel of history keeps turning.